In this video, we are going to discuss about the IPMAT 2021 quants question. So we are taking all 45 quants question in this video. We are taking those 15 short answer type questions and then 30 MCQ questions which are there. So we'll discuss all the questions in detail. Our detailed solution will be provided to you, and some tricks or some easy methods or approaches will be even used in the questions, which will make it easier to solve the question in less than, let's say, 1.5 or 2 minutes. So before this, I just want you to know about Cracku is providing free IPMAT mocks. So Cracku is providing free IPMAT mocks. These are free of cost, and all of these mocks are created on the basis of last 5 years IPMAT previous year papers. We have considered IPMAT papers from 2021 to 2025, and on the basis of that, we have designed IPMAT mocks. So do check out these mocks. Just Google search Cracku IPMAT mock test. Cracku IPMAT mock test. Just Google search this and you will be redirected to the page there. These mocks are something which is going to be very beneficial for you, as the exam is just 1.5 months away from now. So this is going to be very beneficial for you, and it is going to help you a lot. After 1.5 months, you'll realize what your weak areas are in the mocks, and then you can easily work on those weak areas. So do give these mocks. These are going to be very beneficial. Apart from this, we are providing mocks for IPMAT as well. Then for IPMAT IIM Rohtak as well, we are providing mocks. Then for IMK BMS exam as well. Then for Christ University as well. So all the undergraduate examination which are providing their course related to business administration, and they are conducting their exams, we are providing basically the mock test for all of these exams. So do check out these mocks. This is going to be very beneficial. It will help you a lot. So with this, let's start the questions today. The first question is given: the number of positive integers which divide 1890 multiplied by 130 multiplied by 170 and are not divisible by 45. So we have to find out the factors that are not divisible by 45. We have to find out the factors that are not divisible by 45. Now the easiest way to get this number, or like all the factors which are not divisible by 45, is basically take all factors, that is the total factors, and subtract all those factors which are divisible by 45. Factors divisible by 45. So this is the easiest approach of getting all the factors that are not divisible by 45. You take all the factors and then subtract factors which are divisible by 45. Now the number is 1890 into 130 into 170. So n is equal to 1890 into 130 into 170. So 1890 can be written as, this is 27 into 7, so this can be written as 3 cube into 7, and this 10 can be written as 2 into 5. Then we have 130 which can be written as 13 into 2 into 5, which is 13 into 10, and 170 can be written as 17 into 2 into 5. Thus our final will be 2 cube into 3 cube into 5 cube, then into 7 into 13 into 70. So this is my n. Now if n is of the form a to the power p multiplied by b to the power q multiplied by c to the power r, and as number of factors will be p plus 1 into q plus 1 into r plus 1, and this goes on. Thus I can write for n the total factors will be 4 into, which is 3 plus 1, 3 plus 1 into 3 plus 1 into 3 plus 1 into 1 plus 1 into 1 plus 1 multiplied by 1 plus 1. So this will be equal to 4 which is 64 multiplied by 2 which is 8. So 64 into 8, the total number of factors is 512. Now I need all the factors which are multiple of 45, that is factors which are divisible by 45. So what we have to do, 45 is what? 45 is 3 square into 5. 45 is 3 square multiplied by 5, which is 9 into 5, which is 45. So 45 is 3 square by 5. So in this n, we'll take 3 square into 5 as common. What we'll do is basically we'll write n is equal to 3 square into 5. This is what 45 is. We'll take common. So we'll be left with 2 cube into 3 into 5 square into 7 into 13 into 70. So this will be the remaining number. Now all the factors of this number will be a factor of 45 for this n. All the factors, let's say this number is m. So for all the factors of m will be a multiple of 45 for n. Why? Because in the end what we are doing is basically we are multiplying it by 45. This number n is equals to 45 into m. So whatever the factors are there for m, basically if we multiply this factor by 45, it will also be a factor of n as well, and n will be a factor in such a way that it is a multiple of 45. It will be a factor of n which is a multiple of 45. So what I'll do, I'll assume m is equal to 2 cube into 3 into 5 square into 7 into 13 into 17. And basically all the factors of m now will be multiple of 45 for n, which we need, like the number of factors for which are multiple of 45. So this will be equal to 3 plus 1 into 1 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 1 plus 1 into 1 plus 1 into 1 plus 1. So this will be 4 into 2 8 into 3 24 into 2 48 into 2 96 into 2 192. So number of factors for m will be 192. Thus for n there are 192 factors which are multiple of 45. For n 192 factors are multiple of 45. Thus what I can say is total factors, this is 512, and factors that are divisible by 45 or a multiple of 45 is 192. So 512 minus 192, all the factors which are not divisible by 45 will be 320. Because 512 minus 192 is 320, and number of factors that are not divisible by 45 for this particular number will be 320, and therefore 320 will be the correct answer. The next question is saying the sum of 10 terms of the series 1 into 3 plus 5 into 7 plus 9 into 11 up till the first 10 terms will be. So 1, we can see 159. So 159, this can be written as 4n minus 3, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. And 3, 7, 11, this can be written as 4n minus 1, where n is equal to again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. So thus I can write the summation of first 10 terms as sigma n is equal to 1 to 10 4n minus 1 multiplied by 4n minus 3, because when we put n is equal to 1 I'll get 1 into 3, when we put n is equal to 2 I'll get 5 into 7, when we put n is equal to 3 I'll get 9 into 11. So similarly I can put it till 10 terms, because I have to find out sum from sum of first 10 terms. So from n is equal to 1 till n is equal to 10 we have to find out. If I simplify this, this will become sigma of n square n is equal to 1 to n 16n square minus 4n 12n minus 4n, which is 16n plus 3. 16n square minus 16n plus 3. Now this can be further written as 16 into n square, n is equal to 1 to 10 minus 16 sigma n from n is equal to 1 to 10 plus 3 sigma 1 n is equal to 1 to 10. So we can get sum of squares of first n natural numbers is given by the formula n into n plus 1 into n plus 1 by 6. Summation of n square is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. Summation of n is n into n plus 1 by 2, and summation of 1 for first n terms is n. So thus I can write this 16 into I can just directly I'll just directly write sigma n square as n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6, and I'll put n is equal to 10 here, because ultimately my final I have to find out the first 10 natural numbers. So n is equal to 10. So this will be 10 into 10 plus 1, which is 11, into 2n plus 1, which is 21. So 10 into 11 into 21 divided by 6 minus 16 into sum of first 10 natural numbers will be 10 into 11 by 2 plus 3 into, there are 10 terms, so n is equal to 10, so 3 into 10. Thus I can write 6 into 21 as, this will go 35. 35 into 16 will be 16 5 0 8 carry 560 into 11. So 560 multiplied by 11 minus, this will be 16 5 80 minus 880 plus 30. So this will be roughly around 6160 minus 850. So 880 minus 880 plus 30 will be minus 850, and thus my final answer of these terms will be 5310. So this is my final answer of 5310, that is sum of 1 into 3 plus 5 into 7 plus 9 into 11 plus 13 into 15. The total sum will be 5310, and therefore I can say the correct answer will be 5310. The next question is saying it is given that a sequence xn satisfies x1 equal to 0 and xn plus 1 is equal to xn plus 1 plus 2 into under root 1 plus xn. So x1 is given as 0 and xn plus 1 is equal to xn plus 1 plus 2 under root 1 plus xn. What I'll do, I'll assume n is equal to 1 now. For n is equal to 1, 2, 3. So, and I have to find out the value of x of 31. So, n is equal to 1, this will be x of 2 is equal to x1 plus 1 plus 2 under root 1 plus x1. x1 is given as 0, I'll just substitute this. This will be 0 plus 1 plus 2 under root 1 plus 0. Now, this 1 plus 0 will be 1 and under root of 1 will be 1 as well. So, 2 into 1 will be 2. So, this is 2 and this is 1. So, this will be equal to 3. So, x1 is 0, x2 I can write as 3. Then if I write x3, x3 will be x2 plus 1 plus 2 under root 1 plus x2. Now x2 is what? 3 plus 1 plus 2 under root 1 plus 3. 1 plus 3 will be 4 and under root of 4 will be 2. So this will be 2, 2 into 2, 4 plus 3, 7 plus 1, 8. So this will be 8. So x3 is equal to 8. Then we have x4 which is equal to x3 plus 1 plus 2 under root 1 plus x3. What is x3? x3 is 8. 8 plus 1 plus 2 under root 1 plus 8. Now 1 plus 8 is what? 1 plus 8 is 9 and under root of 9 is 3. So 2, 3 is 6 and 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. So this will be 15. Thus x4 is equal to 15. This process continues, but we have to figure out a pattern here. The pattern here is x1 is basically 0 and I can write as at 1 square minus 1. x2 is equal to 3 or I can write this as 2 square minus 1. x3 is equal to 8 or I can write this as 3 square minus 1, and x4 is equal to 15 or I can write this as 4 square minus 1. Thus I can see 1 is 1 square minus 1, 2 is 2 square minus 1, 3 is 3 square minus 1, 4 is 4 square minus 1. So I can write x of n will be equal to n square minus 1. This will be a general formula for xn. We have to find out the value of x of 31. So what we will do, we will just substitute the value of n is equal to 31 here. We'll substitute the value of n is equal to 31, which will get x of 31 is equal to 31 square minus 1. 31 square is 961. So 961 minus 1 is x31. And thus I can write x of 31 will be equal to 960. So x31 is 960 and therefore I can say the correct value of 960 will be x31 will be 960. There are 5 parallel lines on the plane. On the same plane, there are n other lines which are perpendicular to the 5 parallel lines. So there are 5 parallel lines, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And there are n other parallel lines. So 1, 2 which are perpendicular to those 5 parallel lines. So 1, 2, 3 up till this will have till n parallel lines. If the number of distinct rectangles formed by these lines is 360. What is the value of n? Now, how can we basically form a rectangle? If I choose, let's say, this line and this line, so it is basically this one and this one, and if I choose, let's say, this line and this line, if I choose these two lines, so this will be the case. Now, if I see this enclosed figure, this particular, if I can just point this out, this enclosed figure by choosing this line, this line, this line and this line will be a rectangle. So thus I can say any rectangle can be formed when we choose two lines out of choose 2 lines out of these 5 lines and when we choose 2 lines out of these n lines. So any figure can be a rectangle when we choose 2 lines out of those 5 lines and from those n lines we choose 2 lines. Thus number of rectangles will be out of those n lines I have to choose 2 lines, so nc2, and out of those 5 lines I have to choose 2 lines, so nc2 into 5c2. This is given as to be 360. The total number of rectangles possible is 360, so this is equal to 360. Now nc2 will be n into n minus 1 by 2 and 5c2 will be 10. 5 into 5 factorial into divided by 3 factorial into 2 factorial, so this will be 10 is equal to 360. 0, 0 get cancelled, so n into n minus 1 is equal to 72. I can write n into n minus 1 is equal to 9 into 8 and thus I can say n is equal to 9, because if I put n is equal to 9, n minus 1 will be equal to 8. So n into n minus 1 will be 9 into 8, which is n is equal to 9, and thus the value of n will be 9. The next question is given. There are 2 taps T1 and T2 at the bottom of a water tank, either or both of which may be open to empty the water tank. So both are emptying pipes, so T1 and T2 both are basically emptying taps each at a constant rate. If T1 is open, keeping T2 is closed. So T1 is open and T2 is closed, the water tank initially full becomes empty in half an hour. So this is taking 30 minutes to get empty. 30 minutes to empty the tank completely. If both T1 and T2 are kept open, the water tank initially full becomes empty in 20 minutes. So if T1 and T2 both are open, since they both are emptying pipes, it is taking 20 minutes to empty the tank. It is asking then the time in minutes it takes for the water tank initially full to become empty if T2 is open while T1 is closed. So T1 is closed and T2 is open. I have to find out what time it will take to empty the entire tank. Now what I'll assume, the 30 minutes and 20 minutes time is given. I'll assume the LCM of 30 and 20, which is 60 liters, as the capacity. So I'll assume the capacity of the tank, is 60 liters. Capacity of tank is 60 liters. So if only T1 is open, that is only T1 is open and T2 is closed, the tank is getting empty in 30 minutes. So I can write efficiency of T1 is 60 divided by 30, which is 2 liters per minute. 60 liters in 30 minutes, so 2 liters per minute. Now, if both T1 and T2 are open, it is taking 20 minutes. So thus I can write the entire efficiency, the entire tank is getting empty in 20 minutes. So efficiency of combined T1 plus T2 is basically 60 liters, which is the capacity of tank, divided by the time taken to empty, which is 20. So this will be 3 liters per minute. Now efficiencies can be added up. So thus I can write efficiency of T1 plus T2 can be written as efficiency of T1 individually plus efficiency of T2 individually. So T1 and T2 combined efficiency will be equal to the efficiency of T1 added to efficiency of T2. Now I know the efficiency of T1 is 2 liters per minute, so this is 2. Efficiency of T1 plus T2 is 3 liters per minute, so this is 3. And efficiency of T2 I have to find out. Thus I can write efficiency of T2 will be what? 1 liters per minute. Efficiency of T2 will be 1 liters per minute. Now it is asking when T1 is closed and T2 is open. So this and the tap T2 has to empty the entire tank. Now what is the tank capacity? It is 60 liters and the efficiency is given as 1 liter per minute. So time taken by T2 will be, what is the capacity? Capacity is 60 liters divided by efficiency, which is 1 liter per minute, and this will be equal to 60 minutes. This will be equal to 60 minutes, and therefore I can say the time taken to become empty if T2 is open while T1 is closed is 60 minutes. And thus 60 is the correct answer. The next question is saying a class consists of 30 students. Each of them is registered for 5 courses and each course instructor conducts an exam of 200 marks. So there are 5 courses and each of them is 200 marks. So total marks for the 5 courses will be 1000, which is 5 into 200. 5 into 200, this will be 1000 because there are 5 courses and each course has 200 marks. The average percentage marks of all 30 students across all 4 courses they have registered for is 80%. So average, it is given as 80%. Average is given as 80%. Now this means that each student can score 1000 marks and there are 30 students. So total marks for all students. This is total marks for all 5 courses. For all courses is 1000. Total marks for all students will be 30 into 1000, which will be 30,000. Total marks for all students will be 30,000 and average is 80%. So thus I can say marks scored by students, or instead I'll write sum of marks scored by student will be equal to 80% of 30,000, which is equal to 24,000. So sum of marks scored by students will be equal to 24,000. Now 2 of them applied for re-evaluation in a course if none of their marks reduce and the average of all 30 students across all courses become 80.02%. So out of these 30, there were 2 who applied for re-evaluation. Out of the 30, there were 2 who applied for re-evaluation and there was no reduction in marks. Reduction was not there. There was either marks were constant or the marks were increased. And after re-evaluation, the average score become 80.02%. So average become after re-evaluation 80.02%. Thus, if I have to write marks. Now sum of marks scored by students will be what? 80.02% of 30,000. This will be 80.02 upon 100 into 30,000. This goes twice and this decimal also go with 2. So this will be, total score now will be 24,006. So after revaluation, the total sum of marks, after revaluation, the total sum of marks obtained is 24,006. The maximum possible increase in marks for either of the two students. Now, initially, before revaluation, the marks was 24,000. This is before revaluation, and after revaluation, the marks was 24,006. So, if I say there were two students, let's say S1 and S2, and increase for S1 is A, and increase for S2 is B. So, thus I can say overall increase will be what? Overall increase will be A plus B is equal to 24,006 minus 24,000. Marks after evaluation minus marks before revaluation. The marks after evaluation is 24,006 and marks before revaluation is 24,000, and thus I can say A plus B is equal to 6. Now the maximum value of A and B, like the maximum, we need to find out the maximum value of A and B, and this will be equal to, B is equal to 0, then we'll get A is equal to 6. Thus the maximum marks in increase, maximum marks increase can be, for one of the two students, can be 6 marks. 6 marks can be the maximum marks increase because there is the total change and there is no reduction. So value of A and B cannot be negative. So the value of A and B can be at max can be 0 at least, will be 0 at least, and thus the maximum marks increase for any student can be 6, and therefore the maximum possible increase in marks for either of the two students will be 6. What is the minimum number of weights which enable us to weigh any integer number of grams of gold from 1 to 100 on a standard balance with 2 pens? Weights can be placed only on the left pen. So if I want to weigh any, let's say n grams, I have to weigh, the only thing which I can take the weights to be taken is, and if we are saying the minimum number of weights, so what we should consider is basically we should consider the weights of power of 2. So 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3, these weights we should consider in such a way that the sum of all these weights, that is the sum of all these weights, is greater than n. The sum of all these weights is greater than n at whichever value, and then what we'll do, well, let's say we have taken this n weights. Now whatever the value of n will come out to be, we'll just take integer value which is just greater than 1. So we'll take greatest integer of n plus 1. So greatest integer of n plus 1. So thus if let's say we have to find out integer number of grams of gold from 1 to 100. So our value of n is what? We have to weigh 100 gram. So from 1 to 100 we have to weigh. What we can take is basically we can take 2 to the power 0 plus 2 to the power 1 plus 2 to the power 2, and let's say we are taking n weights. We are taking n weights. So this will be equal to 2 to the power n minus 1 because we are starting with 0. So that's why n minus 1. This total sum should be greater than 100. This total sum should be greater than 100. Now since it is starting from 2 to the power 0 plus 2 1 plus 2 2 plus 2 n, so the sum of these numbers will be 2 to the power n minus 1, and this should be greater than 100. Or I can write 2 to the power n is greater than 101. Now 2 to the power 6 is equal to 64 and 2 to the power 7 is equal to 128. So just at 7, basically at 6 what will happen? It will be less than 101, but at 7 it will be greater than 128, and thus I can write the value of n will be what? Value of n will be 7. Why? Because if I take 2 to the power n is equal to 101, value of n will be some 6 point something. Value of n will be 6 point something, and since the formula is greatest integer of n plus 1, so greatest integer of this will be 6 plus 1, which is equal to 7. Or we can just directly apply which is the first integer value of n at which it becomes, the left hand side becomes greater than 101. So at n is equal to 7 integer value, the left hand side becomes greater than 101, and thus I can write n is equal to 7 is the number of weights which are required to calculate all the weights from 1 to 100. To calculate all the weights from 1 to 100, and thus I can say n is equal to 7 is the correct answer. If I have to take an example of this, let's say I have to get 1 to 6 grams of weight. So in this case, what will happen? It should be 2 to the power 0 plus 2 to the power 1 plus 2 to the power 2. Now this will be 2 to the power n minus 1. Again the sum will be 2 to the power n minus 1. Let's say n weights I have taken. This should be greater than 6. So ultimately what we are getting is n is equal to 3. So we can take 3 weights, which is 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1 and 2 to the power 2. So 2 to the power 0 is 1, 2 to the power 1 is 2 and 2 to the power 2 is 4. So with 1, 2 and 4 we can calculate all the weights. Let me do it how we can calculate. 1 gram can be calculated using this, 2 gram can be calculated using this, then 3 gram can be calculated using 1 gram and 2 gram. Then 4 gram can be calculated using 2 grams and 2 grams, or either we can take just 4 gram. 5 grams can be calculated with 1 gram and 4 gram. 6 grams can be calculated with 2 gram and 4 gram. So thus for 1 to 6 we just need 3 weights. We need minimum of 3 weights to calculate, which is in power of 2, 2 to the power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2. It is in power of 2 to calculate all the weights from 1 to 6 gram, and thus for all the weights from 1 to 100 grams, n is equal to 7 is the correct answer. The next question is given: if one of the lines of the given equation coincides with one of those given by this and the other lines represented by them are perpendicular. Let's say, because there is no coefficient of x and coefficient of y in this pair of lines, in both the pair of lines, I can just assume the parallel lines to be y is equal to mx. Let's say y is equal to mx is a line which is coincident in both, and the other pair of lines is basically perpendicular. So if I can say in one it is y is equal to nx, let's say these two other pair of lines which is satisfying this condition, this equation, then the other pair of lines will be y is equal to mx and y is equal to minus x by n, because if the two lines are perpendicular, see these are parallel lines, these are coincident lines, sorry, which is coinciding both the equations, and these are perpendicular lines. These are perpendicular lines which are perpendicular to each other. Why? Because the slope of this is minus 1 by n and slope of this is n, and slope of these two lines is minus 1. The product of slope of these two lines is minus 1, and this is the property of perpendicular lines, that the product of slope is minus 1. Now this is n, this is minus 1 by n, so n into minus 1 by n is equal to minus 1. So thus if I say these two equations will satisfy this particular pair of equations, so I can write y minus mx into y minus nx should be equal to 0, because y minus mx will be 0 and y minus nx is equal to 0. And ultimately what I'll get is y square minus m plus n into x plus mn x square should be equal to 0. What I'll do, I'll compare it with this equation. So this will be 3y square plus axy, this will be m plus n x into y, so axy plus 2x square should be equal to 0. And thus if I just compare these two equations, I can write 1 upon 3 is equal to minus m plus n upon a plus is equal to mn upon 2. So first equation which we can get from here is mn is equal to 2 by 3. This is my first equation, and thus m plus n I can get this as minus of a by 3. M plus n is equal to minus of a by 3, or I can just write a is equal to minus 3 into m plus n. A is equal to minus 3 times of m plus n. Now we have the second pair of equations which is y is equal to mx and y is equal to minus x by n. Thus again multiplying this, I can write y minus mx into y plus x by n is equal to 0, and ultimately I'll get as y square minus plus 1 by n minus m into xy minus m by n into x square is equal to 0. If I have to compare them now, this will be minus 3y square plus bxy plus 2x square is equal to 0. Now if I compare these coefficients, this will be 1 upon minus 3 should be equal to 1 upon n minus m upon b, and should be equal to minus m by n upon 2. Thus from here what I can get is, if I just multiply this, m by n should be equal to 2 by 3. This will be my second equation, because this minus 1 by minus m by n and minus 3, this the negative will get cancelled, and thus I'll get mn is equal to m by n is equal to 2 by 3. Similarly, what I'll get as b is minus 3 into 1 by n minus m. So b is equal to minus 3 into 1 by n minus m. Now what I'll do, I'll multiply equation 1 and equation 2. I'll multiply these two equations, so 1 into 2 I'll do, and thus what I'll get, mn into m by n, and n will get cancelled, and thus m square will be equal to 2 by 3 into 2 by 3, which is 4 by 9, and thus m is equal to plus minus 2 by 3. Now m is equal to plus minus 2 by 3, I'll substitute in any of the equation, either in equation 1 or equation 2, and I'll ultimately get, if I put m is equal to plus 2 by 3, n will be equal to 1. If I could put m is equal to minus 2 by 3, n will be minus 1. So thus value of n will depend on the value of m. If m and n either both will be positive, which is 2 by 3 and 1, or both will be negative, which is minus 2 by 3 and minus 1. Now what we have to find out is, basically we have to find out the value of a square plus b square. So a square plus b square, what will happen? This value, whatever we take, either we take m and n both as positive or m and n both as negative, the value of this will be squared. So we don't have to worry about whether we have to take the positive values of m and n or negative values of m and n, because both of them will work. So what I'll do, I'll assume the positive values of m is equal to 2 by 3 and n is equal to 1. These value I'll substitute in equation, let's say 3 and 4, because I need to find out the value of a and b. So thus a will be equal to minus 3 into m is what, 2 by 3 and n is 1. So 2 by 3 plus 1, which is minus 3 into 5 by 3, and thus a is equals to minus 5. A is equal to minus 5. Then again, if I put m is equal to 2 by 3 and n is equal to 1, what I'll get? B, I have to find out the value of b. So b is equal to minus 3 into 1 by n is 1 upon 1 minus m is what? Minus m is 2 by 3. So 1 upon 1 minus 2 by 3. So again, this is this entire thing will be 1 by 3. So minus 3 into 1 by 3, and thus I can write b will be equal to minus 1. So if a is minus 5 and b is minus 1, the a square and plus b square value will be a square plus b square will be minus 5 ka whole square plus minus 1 ka whole square. Minus 5 ka whole square is 25 and minus 1 ka whole square is 1. So 25 plus 1, a square plus b square will be equal to 26, and thus the value of a square plus b square will be 26. If a function f of a is equal to max of a comma 0, then the smallest integer value of x for which the equation fx minus 3 plus 2fx plus 1 is equal to 8 holds true. So if a is greater than equal to 0, what will happen? F of a will be equal to a, because if a is greater than equal to 0, the possible values of a will be 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and max of 0, 0, 1, 0, it will always be either 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is fa is equal to a. But if a is less than 0, then what will happen? The value of a will be minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, and the maximum of minus 1, 0 or the maximum of minus 2, 0, it will always be fa is equal to 0. For a less than 0, the value of fa will be 0, and for a greater than equal to 0, value of fa is equal to a. So we have to remember this thing: for all positive values, we will have the same thing, which is f of a is equal to a, and for all negative value, we'll have fa is equal to 0. Now our equation is f of x minus 3 plus 2 of f of x plus 1 is equal to 8. Now there will be three conditions for this. First will be x less than minus 1. X less than minus 1. Now for x less than minus 1, what will happen for x minus 3? If x is less than minus 1, I can subtract minus 3 from both sides. So x minus 3 will be less than minus 1 minus 3, and thus x minus 3 will be less than minus 4, or I can write x minus 3 is less than 0. Similarly, if x is less than minus 1, I can just add plus 1 both sides. So this will be x plus 1 is less than minus 1 plus 1, and thus I can write x plus 1 is less than 0. So both x minus 3 and x plus 1 will be less than 0. Now for all values which is less than 0, f function becomes 0. This value, if it is x is less than minus 1, since since x minus 3 is also 0 and x plus 1 is also less than 0, both of them are less than 0. So what will happen? These two will be 0. So 0 plus 2 into 0 should be equal to 8, and thus ultimately we will get 0 is equal to 8, but this is not possible. 0 is equal to 8 is not possible, and thus I can say there will be no value which is less than minus 1 which will satisfy the given equation. Now my second condition will be, I'll just divide this into 2. X is greater than minus 1 but less than 3. X is greater than minus 1 but less than 3. So what will happen now is, since x is greater than minus 1, if I add 1 plus 1 both sides, thus x plus 1 will be greater than minus 1 plus 1, or I can write x plus 1 is greater than 0. So minus 1 greater than equal to, let's say this is minus greater than equal to, so x plus 1 is greater than equal to 0. But for 3, if x is less than 3, I'll subtract minus 3 both sides. So x minus 3 should be less than 3 minus 3. So x minus 3 will be less than 0. Now what will happen if I take this equation f of x minus 3 plus 2 into f of x plus 1, x minus 3, this value is less than 0. X minus 3 value is less than 0. So ultimately f of x minus 3 will be equal to 0. F of x minus 3 will be equal to 0. But what will happen for x plus 1? For a greater than equal to 0, f of a is equal to a. So if x plus 1 is greater than equal to 0, f of x plus 1 will be equal to x plus 1 only. F of x plus 1 will be equal to x plus 1 only, and thus if I substitute, f of x minus 3 is 0 plus 2 into x plus 1 should be equal to 8, and thus this 0 plus 2, 0 will be removed, and this will be 2 divided by 8 which is 4, 8 divided by 2 which is 4, and thus x is equal to 3. But I clearly said that x is in the range of minus 1 greater than equal to minus 1 but less than 3, not equal to 3. So thus we can ignore this case as well. That is when x is less, I am asking for x less than 3 but I am getting x is equal to 3. So I can ignore this case. Now let's move to the final case, which is x greater than equal to 3. Now if I say x is greater than equal to 3, this is my third case, this was my second case. What will happen? If I subtract 1 from both sides, it will be x minus 1 greater than equal to 3 minus 1, which is x minus 1 greater than equal to 2, and thus x minus 1 is greater than equal to 0. So x minus 1 is greater than equal to 0. If I say x is greater than equal to 3, what I'll do? I'll subtract 3 from both sides. So x minus 3 will be greater than equal to 3 minus 3, and thus I can say x minus 3 will also be greater than equal to 0. So x minus 1 and x minus 3, both of them are greater than equal to 0. So thus what I can say, sorry, this is x plus 1. This is f of x plus 1, yeah, this is x. So this is x plus 1. If I add 3 both sides, so this will be 3 plus 1. So f of x plus 1 greater than equal to 4, and x plus 1 is greater than equal to 0. Now if a is greater than equal to 0, fa is equal to a. Thus I can write f of x plus 1, since it is greater than equal to 0, this will be x plus 1 only. Since x plus 1 is greater than equal to 0, that is whatever is there inside function is greater than equal to 0. So f of x plus 1 is equal to x plus 1. And similarly f of x minus 3 will also be x minus 3. And thus I can write x minus 3 plus 2 times x plus 1 should be equal to 8. Thus x minus 3 plus 2x plus 2 should be equal to 8. This will be 3x is equal to 9, or I can write x is equal to 3. So at x is equal to 3, and since x is greater than equal to 3, which was our initial condition, so I can say x is equal to 3 can be a possible solution. First case was never possible. X is equal to 3 in the second case was not possible because it was less than 3, but in this it is saying greater than equal to 3. So x is equal to 3 is a value which is possible, and thus I can say smallest integer value of x for which the equation is satisfying is basically x is equal to 3. So at x is equal to 3, it is satisfying the equation, and thus x is equal to 3 is the correct answer. The next question is saying in a class 60 and 68% of students pass their physics and mathematics examination respectively, then at least dash percentage of students pass both their physics and mathematics examination. Now what we'll do, we'll use a Venn diagram over here. I'll assume total students, since it is ultimately asking about the percentage, so I can assume the total number of students. So I'll assume total students is 100. 100 is total students. So total students is 100. Now we have physics and mathematics. So physics and mathematics. There are 60% of students who are passing in physics. So 60% of 100 will be 60. So in physics there are 62 students who are passing. Similarly for maths, there are 68% students who are passing. So 68% of 100 will be 68, and thus in maths there are 68 students who are passing. What I'll assume the number of students who are not passing any of the exam, which is neither physics nor mathematics, as A, which is coming out of both the circles, and number of students who are passing both the examinations as B, which is passing both physics and mathematics as B. And we have to find out which is pass both their mathematics and physics examination, and at least it is saying, so we have to find out the B minimum value of B, because we have to find out this number which is passing both the exams, and it is the minimum. It should be at least. So if this is B, this will be 60 minus B, and if this is B, this is 68 minus B. So 60 minus B, B, and 68 minus B. Now sum of this and this should be equal to 100, because this is our initial assumption that there are total number of students as 100. So I can write A plus 60 minus B plus B plus 68 minus B. This should be equal to 100. Now this B and B get cancelled, and thus what I'll be left with is A plus 128 minus B should be equal to 100. I can take B to the right hand side and 100 to the left hand side, and thus I'll get B is equals to 28 plus A. Now the minimum value of A will always be greater than equal to 0. A will always be greater than equal to 0. So A plus 28 will always be greater than equal to 28. A plus 28 will always be greater than equal to 28, and A plus 28, this value is B. So thus I can write B will always be greater than equal to 28. B will always be greater than equal to 28, and thus I can say 28 divided by 100 into 100, this will be 28%. This will be 28%, and the 28% are the students who are passing both the examination. This is the minimum value. Minimum, since B is greater than equal to 28, the minimum value will be 28, and thus I can say the minimum, at least 28% of the 28% of students should pass in both physics and mathematics examination, and therefore 28 is the correct answer. In this question, it is given, suppose that a real valued function fx of real number satisfies f of x plus xy is equal to fx plus f of xy for all real x comma y, and that f of 2020 is 1, then compute f of 2021. Okay, so we are given that f of x plus xy is equals to f of x plus f of xy. What we'll assume x into y is equal to w. If I assume x into y is equal to w, what will happen? I can write f of x plus w is equal to f of x plus f of w. Now this equation, which is f of x plus w is equal to fx plus f of w, this is the general equation when f of x is equals to k into x. This is a general equation when f of x is equal to k into x, where k is a constant. Here k is a constant. So fx is equal to kx, where k is a constant. So if I see f of x plus w now, it will be what? It will be k into x plus w, or I can write kx plus kw. Now kx can be written as f of x and kw can be written as f of w. So thus I can write f of x plus w can be written as f of x plus f of w. That is, f of x plus w can be written as sum of f of x plus f of w. Thus the general equation will be f of x is equal to kx. This will be the general equation. It is given that f of 2020 is equal to 1. So f of 2020 is given as 1. So instead of x, I can just put 2020. So putting x is equal to 2020, I'll get f of 2020 is equals to k into 2020. And this is equal to 1. F of 2020 is 1. So k into 2020 is 1. So k can be written as 1 divided by 2020. So this is the value of k. Thus f of x will become 1 upon 2020 into x. I need to find out the value of f of 2021. So thus f of 2021 will be, I have to just put x is equal to 2021. If I just put x is equal to 2021, what will happen is f of 2021 is equal to 1 upon 2020 into 2021. And thus I can say f of 2021 will be equal to 2021 divided by 2020. F of 2021 will be equal to 2021 divided by 2020, and therefore the correct option will be option A, which is 2021 divided by 2020. Suppose that log base 2, log base 3, log base 4a is equal to log base 3, log base 4, log base 2b is equal to log base 4, log base 2, log base 3c, and this all are equal to 0. So we have log base 2, log base 3, log a base 4, this as 0. Then the value of, if we have to find out the value of a plus b plus c. So if I substitute this, I just need to know one formula, which is if log b to the base a is equal to c, I can just write b is equals to a to the power c. So thus, applying same formula, I can write log base 3 log a base 4 is equal to a base 4 is equal to 2 to the power 0. Now this 2 to the power 0 will be 1. So I can again write log a base 4 is equal to 3 to the power 1, which will be equal to 3. This will be a is equal to 4 to the power 3, which is equal to 64. I'm just taking, first I took this 2 and took it to power, then I take this 3 and then took it to power, and then I take this 4 and then took it to power. So a is equal to 64. So a is equal to 64. Similarly, we'll find out the value of b and c. So log base 3, log base 4, log base 2b is equal to 0. Then what will happen? Again, I'll take this 3 to the other side, which will become log base 4, log b base 2 is equal to 3 to the power 0, which is equal to 1. Then log b base 2 will be equal to 4 to the power 1, which is equal to 4. And again, this will be b is equal to 2 to the power 4, which is equal to 16. And thus I can write b is equal to 16. Similarly, for the third part, which is log 4, log base 4, log base 2, log c base 3. This is again equal to 0. So log base 2, log c base 3, this is equal to 4 to the power 0, which is equal to 1. Then log c base 3 is equal to 2 to the power 1, which is equal to 2. and C will be equal to 3 to the power 2, which is C is equal to 9. So A is 64, B is 16 and C is 9. So then A plus B plus C will be 64 plus 16 plus 9, which is equal to 64, 16 is 80 and 80 plus 9 is 89. So A plus B plus C is basically 89. A plus B plus C is 89 and therefore option C 89 is the correct answer. The next question is given, let Sn be the sum of first n terms of an AP. If if S of 5 is equal to S of 9, then what is the ratio of A third term to the fifth term? So first of all, sum of first n terms is what? N by 2. 2 times A plus n minus 1 into D. Now we need to find out S of 5, if it is given S of 5 is equal to S of 9. So S of 5 is equal to S of 9. So thus I can write 5 by 2, 2A plus 5 minus 1 is 4. So 2A plus 4D is equal to 9 by 2. 2A plus 9 minus 1 is 8. So 2A plus 8D. Both of them are equal. Just 2 and 2 get cancelled, and simplifying this will give me 10A plus 20D is equal to 18A plus 72D. I can take this 10A to the right hand side, this 72D to the left hand side. I'll be left with minus 52D is equal to 8A, or this will be simplified to, okay, 8A is equal to minus 52D, or A is equal to minus 13D by 2. A is equals to minus 13D by 2. This is D. A is equal to minus 13D by 2. A is equal to minus 13D by 2. Now we need to find out A3 is to A5. So let's see what is A3. A3 is equal to A plus 2D. And what is A? A is minus 13D by 2. So minus 13D by 2 plus 2D. This will be equal to 2 into 2 is 4D. So minus 13D plus 4D is minus 9D by 2. So A3 is minus 9D by 2. Then A5. A5 will be equal to A plus 4D. What is A? A is minus 13D by 2 plus 4D. Now 2 4 are 8 and 8 minus 13 is minus 5. This is minus 5D by 2. Thus if I have to find out the ratio of A3 is to A5. So A3 is to A5 will be minus 9D by 2 is to minus 5D by 2. This minus minus get cancelled. This D by 2 get also cancelled. And thus I can write A3 is to A5 is equal to 9 is to 5. A3 is to A5 is equal to 9 is to 5. And therefore I can say option A, which is 9 is to 5, is the correct answer. The next question is saying if A, B and A plus B are non-singular matrix and AB is equal to BA, then 2A minus B minus A into A plus B ka whole inverse into A plus B into A plus B ka whole inverse into B. This equals what? So we have A, B and A plus B as non-singular matrices. So what we can take is, we'll take this initial condition of AB is equal to BA. Now if AB is equal to BA, I can, what I'll do, I'll pre-multiply by A inverse. So this will become A inverse into B is equals to A inverse B, A inverse into BA. Now A into A inverse is I. A inverse into A, or A inverse, A into A inverse, or A inverse into A, this is both equal to I if A and B are non-singular matrices. Thus what we can write is, this I and I multiplied by any matrix is basically that matrix only. So I in identity matrix multiplied by any matrix is that matrix, and A into A inverse or A inverse into A, this is equal to I. So thus I can write B is equals to A inverse B into A. Now what I can do, I can post multiply by A inverse. I'll post multiply by A inverse, and or what it will become? It will become B into A inverse is equals to A inverse B into A inverse. Now again this will be I. So ultimately this will be simplified to B into A inverse is equal to A inverse into B. This is my final simplification, which is B into A inverse is equal to A inverse into B up till now. Now what I'll do is basically I'll add A into A inverse both sides. So A into A inverse is equal to basically A inverse into A, and this is equal to I. So A into A inverse or A inverse into A, if I add both sides, either what I can do is I can just add A into A inverse to the left hand side and A inverse into A to the right hand side. So what I am trying to say is, I'll add this part to the left hand side and this part to the right hand side. So what it will become? It will become A into A inverse plus B into A inverse should be equal to A inverse A plus A inverse B. Now I have added this part and this part. Now I don't have to worry because both the parts are same. Both of them are equal. A inverse into A and A into A inverse are equal. So I have added this to the left hand side and I have added to the right hand side. Just what I am doing is, if I just say A is equal to B and there is some number K is equal to M. So what I can write is A plus K is equals to B plus M, because ultimately what will happen, this A and B will be cancelled because both are equal. So again I will be redirected to K is equal to 1. I have just added A into A inverse to the left hand side and A inverse into A to the right hand side, and both of them are equal. So ultimately both of them will be cancelled out. Both of them will be cancelled out and ultimately I'll get this equation. Now A into A inverse is plus B into A inverse is equal to A inverse A plus A inverse B. So thus I can write, from here I can write A inverse, I can take common, just a minute, I'll take A plus B as common multiplied by A inverse. Since A inverse is post multiplied, so I have to keep it to the post multiplication only. So A plus B into A inverse, this will be equal to, in the right hand side, A inverse is in the pre multiplication, so this will become A inverse into A plus B. A inverse is equal to A inverse into A plus B. Now there is one more thing, which is AC ka inverse. Inverse of AC is written as C inverse into A inverse. AC inverse is written as C inverse into A inverse. AC inverse is written as C inverse into A inverse. So thus I can write, I'll take inverse both sides. I'll take inverse both sides. I'll take inverse both sides. So this will become A plus B into A inverse ka whole inverse is equal to A inverse into A plus B ka whole inverse. Again what I'll assume A plus B as C. I'll assume this A plus B as C. So what this will become is basically this A inverse, this will be something like C into A inverse ka inverse, can be written as A into A inverse ka inverse into C inverse. And inverse of inverse, A inverse of inverse is basically A only. Inverse of matrix of an inverse matrix is basically the original matrix only. Thus I can write this will be A inverse of inverse, which will be A into C inverse. A into C inverse, and C is equal to A plus B, so I can write A into A plus B ka whole inverse. Thus this thing, A plus B into A inverse ka whole inverse, can be written as A into A plus B ka whole inverse. A into A plus B ka whole inverse, and this should be equal to, again, A inverse into A plus B ka whole inverse. This can be written as A inverse into A plus B ka whole inverse, or I can just write C here. A inverse into C ka whole inverse, this will be C inverse into A inverse ka inverse. So C inverse into basically A. C inverse into A. Thus, if I just substitute C in place of C, I just put A plus B. So this will be A plus B ka whole inverse into A. So thus, this will be our first equation, which is A into A plus B ka whole inverse is equal to A plus B ka inverse into A. So what I'll do, I'll just write it over here. A into A plus B ka whole inverse is equals to A plus B ka whole inverse into A. This is my first equation. Now initially what I did was I added A into A inverse both sides. Now this is B A inverse is equal to A inverse into B. Now I have already got my first equation. I need to get one more equation. Basically what I find was A into A plus B ka whole inverse can be written as A plus B ka inverse into A. So this thing I have already calculated. I have to now calculate what I can write this. So if it is given B into A inverse is equal to A inverse into B. Now instead of adding A into A inverse both sides, what I'll do is, first I'll take the whole inverse. So again, A into B ka whole inverse is basically what? B inverse into A inverse. So if I take inverse both sides, this will be B A inverse ka whole inverse is equals to A inverse B ka whole inverse. This will be what? A inverse ka inverse into B inverse, and this will be B inverse into A inverse ka inverse. So this will be A into B inverse will be equal to B inverse into A, because inverse of an inverse is basically the original matrix, which is A. So thus I have reduced it to A into B inverse is equal to B inverse into A. After taking inverse both sides, I've got A into B inverse is equal to B inverse into A. So what I'll do, in the previous one, what I did, I added A into A inverse both sides. Now what I'll do, I'll add B into B inverse both sides. Adding, after this, adding B into B inverse both sides. Adding B into B inverse both sides. So what will happen? Again, B into B inverse can be written as B inverse into B. So what I'll do, I'll add LHS. In the LHS, I'll add B into B inverse, and in the RHS, I'll add B inverse into B. The similar thing which I did in the previous step. This will become what? This will be AB inverse plus BB inverse will be equal to B inverse A, and instead of BB inverse, what I'll add B inverse into B. Instead of BB inverse, I'll add B inverse into B. Now ultimately I've added this part and this part, but both of them are equal. Both of them are equal. B into B inverse is equal to B inverse into B. Both of them are equal, and thus what I can say, since both of them are equal, B into B inverse is equal to B inverse into B, ultimately this will be cancelled out again because both are equal. So now what I can do, I can take B inverse as common. So A plus B into B inverse, and B inverse will be in post multiplication because it is already in post multiplication. This will be equal to B inverse into A plus B. B inverse into A plus B. I need the value of B into A plus B ka whole inverse. How can I get this? I can get this by taking again inverse both sides. So again taking inverse both sides. So similar to what I did in the previous case, taking inverse both sides, what will happen? This will become B inverse ka inverse into A plus B ka whole inverse should be equal to A plus B ka whole inverse into B inverse ka inverse. Thus I can write this will become B inverse ka inverse will be B. So B into A plus B ka whole inverse, A plus B ka whole inverse will be equal to A plus B ka inverse into B. So this is my second equation, which is B into A plus B ka whole inverse is equal to A plus B inverse into B. So thus I can write B into A plus B ka whole inverse is equals to A plus B ka whole inverse into B. So this will be my second equation. Now I've got two equations, which is A into A plus B ka whole inverse is equal to A plus B inverse into A, and B into A plus B ka whole inverse is equal to A plus B inverse into B. Now my equation is I have to compute 2A minus B minus A into A plus B ka whole inverse into A plus B into A plus B ka whole inverse into B. Now instead of this, I'll put this, which is A plus B ka whole inverse into A. So this will be 2A minus B minus A plus B ka whole inverse into A, and this multiplied by whole A, plus B into A plus B ka whole inverse. I'll put this value. So this will be A plus B ka whole inverse into B and whole multiplied by B. So for this part, this is A plus B ka whole inverse multiplied by B and whole multiplied by B. So again this will be 2A minus B, and again this will be A into A will be A square. So this will be A plus B ka whole inverse into A square plus A plus B ka whole inverse into B will be B square. So this will be B square. Now next step will be, I'll take A plus B ka whole inverse as common. So A plus B ka whole inverse as common, and ultimately I'll be left with what? I'll be left with A square minus B square, because I've taken minus out here, and this is minus with A square and plus with B square, so it will be A square minus B square. Now if I just roughly do it right hand side, I'll just roughly do A plus B into A minus B. A plus B into A minus B. This will be equal to A square, A into A, minus A into B, so A square minus AB, plus B into A, so plus BA, and B into minus B, so minus B square. So A plus B into A minus B can be written as A square minus AB plus BA minus B square. Now AB is equal to BA, so this and this get cancelled out, and thus I can write A plus B into A minus B can be written as A square minus B square. So similarly, A square minus B square in this case, when AB is equal to BA, can be written as A plus B into A minus B. So I'll just write this down here. Instead of A square minus B square, I'll write it as A plus B into A minus B. So this will be 2A minus B minus A plus B ka whole inverse into A plus B into A minus B. Now if I assume C is equals to A plus B, if I assume here C is equal to A plus B, if I look at this part now, this is what? This is C inverse into C. This is C inverse into C, and this will be equal to I only. And it is clearly given that A plus B is a non-singular matrix. So for all non-singular matrices, C inverse into C is I. So this part, which is A plus B ka whole inverse multiplied by A plus B, I can just assume it as another matrix C, and it will be coming out as C inverse into C. So this will be equal to I. So thus I can further simplify this to 2A minus B minus I into A minus B. Now any matrix multiplied by the identity matrix will be the original matrix itself. So this will be equal to 2A minus B minus A minus B. Further simplified to 2A minus B minus A plus B. So I am just opening this bracket. So 2A minus B minus A plus B. This plus B and minus B get cancelled, and this will be 2A minus A, which is equal to A. 2A minus A, which is equal to A, and therefore I can say the entire this equation will be simplified to A, and therefore option A is the correct answer. The next question is saying if the angles ABC of a triangle are in arithmetic progression, so ABC are in an AP, so this means that 2B is equals to A plus C. And I know the angle sum property of a triangle is A plus B plus C is equal to 180 degrees. The sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So A plus B plus C is equals to 180 degrees. Now instead of A plus C, what I can write? I can write 2B. So therefore I can say 2B plus B is equal to 180 degrees, or 3B is equal to 180 degrees, or B is equals to 60 degrees. So B is 60 degrees. So I have got one of my angle, which is B is equal to 60 degrees. I am left with A and C now. So A plus C, first of all, this will be equal to 120 degrees. A plus C is 2B and B is 60. So A plus C will be 120 degrees. Also it is given that sine of 2A plus B is equal to 1 by 2. So sine of 2A plus B is equal to 1 by 2. Now sine is positive in the first and the second quadrant. So I can write either 2A plus B can be equal to 30 degrees because sine 30 is 1 by 2. Or I can also write 2A plus B will be equal to 150 degrees. Why? Because sine 150 will also be sine pi minus sine 180 degree minus 30 degree, which will be ultimately equal to sine 30 degree, which will be ultimately 1 by 2. So 2A plus B can be either 30 degrees or 150 degrees, because for both it is always plus 1 by 2. For first and second quadrant, the values for sine is positive. So for 2A plus B, it can be either 30 degrees or it can be 150 degrees. Now if I put the value of B is equal to 60 in this one, what I'll get is basically I'll get A is equals to minus 15 degrees. A is equal to minus 15 degrees. This is not possible because angles will always be a positive numbers. So thus I can say 2A plus B is equal to 150 degree, and I can just, instead of B, I can write 60 degrees. So this will be equal to 2A plus 60 is equal to 150 degrees. This will be 90 degrees, and thus A will be equal to 45 degrees. A will be equal to 45 degrees. I'll say again 2A plus B is 30 degree, or it can be 150 degree. Now but if B is equal to 60 degree, what will happen? A will come out as minus 15 degree, and this is not possible. So ultimately what we have to take is 2A plus B to be 150 degree. Now 2A plus B is 150. I'll just substitute B is equal to 60 and I'll get 2A is equal to 90 or A is equal to 45 degree. Now after getting A is equal to 45 degree, I can just write here A is equal to 45 degrees. I can just write 45. I just put the value of A is equal to 45 in this one. So 45 plus C is equals to 120 degrees. So 45 plus C is equal to 130. So this I can write C is equals to 75 degrees. So I can write here C is equals to 75 degrees. Therefore, I find the value of B, A and C, which is 60, 45 and 75 degree. I have to find the value of sine of B plus 2C. So sine of B plus 2C is 60 plus 2 into 75. Sine of B plus 2C will be equal to sine of 60 plus 2 times 75 degrees. So this will be equal to sine of 60 plus 2 times 75 is 150. So 60 plus 150 is 210 degrees. So this will be sine of 210 degrees, and this will be equal to sine of 180 degrees plus 30 degrees. This will be 180 degree plus 30 degree. Now 180 degree plus 30 degree will be in which quadrant? It will be in 180 degrees plus 30 degree. So sine of 210 degree will be something this, which is 180 plus this is 30 more. So sine of 210 will be in the third quadrant, first, second, third and fourth. So it will be in the third quadrant. So in third quadrant, sine is a negative value. So sine 180 plus 30 can be written as sine pi plus theta can be written as minus of sine theta. So this will be equal to minus of sine of 30 degrees. Now again sine 30 is what? Sine 30 is 1 by 2. So this can be written as minus of 1 by 2. The sign of b plus 2c can be written as minus 1 by 2, and therefore I can say option A, which is minus 1 by 2, is the correct answer. The next question is given: the unit digit in 743 to the whole power 85 minus 525 to the whole power 37 plus 987 to the whole power 96. So first of all, we should know the cyclicity of 3, 5 and 7. So for 3 and 7, the cyclicity is 4 numbers. So every 4 occurrences, the cycle will start repeating. So if 3 to the power 1, it will be 3. 3 ka square is 9. If the power is 3 for any number, if the power is 3, the unit digit will be 7, and if power is 4, the unit digit will be what? It will be 1. It will be 1. So thus, and after again, so 3 to the power 5, any number with 3 to the power 5, this will be again 3, and then for 9, then 7, and then 1. So this process will keep on continuing. So I can just write for any number with unit digit of k plus 1, the unit digit will be 3. Now if I see 85, 85 can be written as 4 into 21 plus 1. So it can be written as 4 into k plus 1. 85 can be written as 4 into k plus 1. Now if the power is 4 into k plus 1, so thus I can write 743 to the 85, 743 to the whole power 85 will be some number whose unit digit is 3. Similarly, 525, if the unit digit is 5, any power you can put, the resultant number will also have 5 unit digit. So again, 525 to the whole power 37, this will be some number whose unit digit is 5. Then we have 987 to the whole power 96. So now if some number is with unit digit 7 to the power 1, again it is 7. Then if the unit digit is 7 and power is 2, so then the unit digit of the final number will be 9. Then some number with unit digit 7 and power 3, it will be 3 as the unit digit. And again some number with unit digit 7 and power 4, it will be 1. Now again this cycle will continue. It will again come 7, then 9, then 3, and then 1. So if I see any number which is ending with 7 and it is of the multiple of 4, it will always end with 1. It will always a number whose unit digit will be 1. Now if I see 96, 96 is a multiple of 4. 4 multiple, or I can write it as 4 multiple, or I can write it as 4 into k. Thus I can just write 987 to the whole power 96 will be what? It will be some number whose unit digit is 1. So this is the case, which is when the power is a multiple of 4, it will be some number whose unit digit is 1. So thus I can write 743 to the whole power 85 minus, so this can be simplified to 743 to the whole power 85, this will be some number unit digit 3, minus 525 to the whole power 37, which is some number whose unit digit is 5, plus 987 to the power 96, it will be some number whose unit digit is 1. So this will be equal to, if I just add this up, this will be equal to some number whose unit digit is 4. Some number whose unit digit is 4 minus some number whose unit digit is 5. What I have done is basically I have added this number and this number. These two numbers are added together. These two numbers are added, so I get this number, some number whose unit digit is 4. Now I have to subtract some number whose unit digit is 5. So what I'll do from this previous, let's say whatever this digit is, the previous digit, I'll take one carry from it. So what will happen? This will become 14 now. 14, and this will be remain 5 only. So 14 minus 5, this will be equal to 9. I have to only worry about, basically this will be 14 minus 5 is 9. So this will be some number whose unit digit is 9. Now I have to only worry about the unit digit. Whatever is happening to the tens digit, I don't have to worry about. That's why I just directly took the carry from it. I don't have to worry about whatever the tens digit was because I have to just take the carry. So this will become 14 minus 5, which is equal to 9. So thus the unit digit will be 9, and it will be some number whose unit digit is 9. So therefore this entire thing will be resulted into some number whose unit digit is 9, and therefore option A, 9, is the unit digit of this entire number. The next question is given: the set of all real values of p for which the equation 3 sin square x plus 12 cos x minus 3 is equal to p. So sin square x, I can write this as 1 minus cos square x. Sin square x can be written as 1 minus cos square x. So this will be equal to 3 into 1 minus cos square x plus 12 cos x minus 3 is equal to p. So this will be equal to 3 minus 3 cos square x plus 12 cos x minus 3 is equal to p. What I'll do, this 3 and 3 will get cancelled. I'll take this 3 cos square x plus minus 3 cos square x plus 12 cos x to the right hand side. So after taking it to the right hand side, what it will become, and I'll take this p to the left hand side. So this will become minus p is equal to minus 3 cos square x will become plus 3 cos square x. So 3 cos square x and plus 12 cos x will become minus 12 cos x. Now I'll add 12 both sides. I'll add 12 both sides. So I'll add 12 both sides. So this will become 12 minus p is equal to 3 cos square x minus 12x plus 12. So this I can write it as 3 cos square x minus 4 cos x plus 4. 3 cos square x minus 4 cos x plus 4. And this can be simplified to 12 minus p is equal to 3 into cos x minus 2 ka whole square. 3 into cos x minus 2 ka whole square. So cos square x minus 4 cos x plus 4 cos, this can be written as cos x minus 2 ka whole square. Now I know the value of cos x is from minus 1 to 1. Value of cos x is minus 1 to 1. So cos x minus 2 will be equal to minus 3 to minus 1. I am just subtracting minus 2 from both sides. So subtracting minus 2 from both sides. So this will be minus 1 minus 2 is minus 3 and minus 3 to minus 1. Cos x minus 2 will be minus 3 to minus 1. Now if I take the square, I'll do squaring both sides. This will become cos x minus 2 ka whole square to be greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 9. Because minus 3 to minus 1, if I take the square, it will become 1 to 9. Because let's say any number which is minus 2. So minus 2 ka whole square is 2. Minus 1 ka whole square is 1 and minus 3 ka whole square is 9. So the numbers will lie in the range of 1 to 9. So cos x minus 2 ka whole square will lie in the range of 1 to 9. Now this is 3 into cos x minus 2 ka whole square. So what I'll do, I'll multiply by 3. I'll multiply by 3. This will be 3 into cos x minus 2 ka whole square to be greater than equal to 3 and less than equal to 27. So 3 into cos x minus 2 ka whole square to be greater than equal to 3 and less than equal to 27. Now 3 into cos x minus 2 ka whole square is 12 minus p. So thus I can write it here as 12 minus p to be greater than equal to 3 and less than equal to 27. I am just substituting this one with 12 minus p over here. I am just substituting 3 into cos x minus 2 ka whole square as 12 minus p. So 12 minus p will be 3 greater than equal to 3 and less than equal to 72. So what I'll do, I'll just multiply by minus 1. I'll just multiply by minus 1 the entire equation. So the signs will change. So this will become minus 27 greater than equal to p minus 12 and less than equal to minus 3. Now I'll add 12 both sides. Add 12 both sides. So this will become minus 27 plus 12 less than equal to p minus 12 plus 12 less than equal to minus 3 plus 12. So plus 12 minus 12 get cancelled and this will be equal to p greater than equal to minus 15 and less than equal to 9. P greater than equal to minus 15 and less than equal to 9, and therefore I can say P will lie in the range of minus 15 to 9. The value of P will be minus 15 to 9, and therefore option C which is C which is minus 15 to 9 is the correct answer. The next question is saying if ABCD is a quadrilateral whose diagonals AC and BD intersect at O, if triangles AOB and COD have areas 4 and 9 respectively. So let's say this is some quadrilateral ABCD, and there is AC and BD which are intersecting at O, AC and BD intersecting at O, and it is given that the area of AOB is 4 and COD is 9. Now there is one property for any quadrilateral, area of if it is if the two diagonals intersect at O, then the quadrilateral will be divided into 4 triangles. Now the area of the opposite triangles, product of area of opposite triangles will be equal. So what I am trying to say for this one, area of triangle AOB into area of triangle COD should be equal to area of triangle AOD multiplied by area of triangle BOC. So this area multiplied by this area should be equal to this area multiplied by this area. So area product of area of the opposite triangles will be equal. Since it is divided into 4 triangles, the product of area of opposite triangles will be equal. So AOB into COD will be equal to AOD into BOC. Now AOD into BOC, AOB I know this is 4 and this is 9. So thus I can write area triangle AOD multiplied by area triangle BOC. This will be equal to 4 into 9 which is equal to 36. So AOD into BOC is equal to 36. Now what I'll assume? I'll assume AOD as A and BOC as B. So I can write AB is equal to 36. I have to find out the minimum area that ABCD can have is. So minimum area ABCD can have is, so area of quadrilateral ABCD, okay, this is not quadrilateral, this is ABCD will be equal to area of AOB plus area of BOC plus area of COD plus area of AOD. So AOB is what? AOB is 4, BOC is B, then COD is 9 and AOD is A. So 4 plus B plus 9 plus A, this will be equal to 4 plus 9 is 13. So this will be equal to 13 plus A plus B. Now if AB is equal to 36, AB is equal to 36, then A plus B will be minimum. A plus B will be minimum when A is equal to B. A plus B, if AB is equal to 36, then A plus B will be minimum when A is equal to B. Thus I can say the minimum value of A plus B when A is equal to B, so this will become A square is equal to 36 or A is equal to 6. So A is equal to 6 is equal to B. So A and B is equal to 6, so A plus B minimum value will be 6 plus 6, thus A plus B minimum will be 12. A plus B minimum will be 12. So the minimum value of A plus B is 12. Thus we need to find out the minimum area of ABCD. So if A plus B, this value minimum is 12, so I can write area of ABCD minimum value will be 13 plus minimum value of A plus B, which is 12. So 13 plus 12 and this will be 25. So thus the area of the minimum area of the quadrilateral ABCD will be 25 and therefore I can say option B, 25 is the correct answer. The next question is saying the highest possible value of the ratio of a 4-digit number and the sum of its 4 digit is. So if we have a number A, B, C, D, so what we need is basically the ratio of A, B, C, D divided by A plus B plus C plus D. So we need this ratio. Now for this question you just need to check the options. By just checking the options we can just figure out which of the following can be the highest possible value of a 4-digit number to the sum of its 4 digit. Now if I by any chance get the value as 1000, if I by any chance get the value as 1000, I'll get my answer will be 1000 because among all the given options 1000 is the maximum value. So I don't have to worry about which will be the maximum or which will not be the maximum, because 1000 is among the given options is my highest ratio, and there can be no ratio which is greater than 1000 because 1000 can be my answer if I get the ratio as 1000. So if I just consider the number as 1000, if I just consider n is equal to 1000, then sum of digits will be what? 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, which is equal to 1. Thus the ratio of the number divided by sum of digits, ratio of number divided by sum of digits is 1000 divided by 1, and thus this is equal to 1000 is to 1. 1000 is to 1. Thus I find out that the highest possible value of the ratio can be 1000. If highest possible value of ratio can be 1000, my option A 1000 will be the correct answer. Why? Because 277.75, 999 and 900.1, all of these values are less than 1000. All of these values are less than 1000 and I have to find out the maximum or highest possible value of the ratio. So highest possible value ratio, if I have already find it out as 1000, I don't have to worry about any other options, and thus 1000 will be the correct answer. So option A is the correct answer. The next question is saying consider the polynomials fx is equal to ax square plus bx plus c where a greater than 0 and b, c are real, and gx is equal to minus 2x if fx cuts the axis at minus 2 comma 0 and gx passes through a comma b. So fx is equals to ax square plus bx plus c, and fx cut the x-axis at minus 2 comma 0. So f of minus 2 is equal to 0. It is cutting at minus 2 comma 0 means f of minus 2 is equal to 0. So thus I can write a into minus 2 ka whole square plus b into minus 2 plus c should be equal to 0, or I can write 4a minus 2b plus c is equal to 0. This is my first equation. Now it is given that gx is equal to minus 2x and it is passes through a comma b. So g of a will be equal to b. If gx is equal to minus 2x and it is passing through a comma b, so ga will be equal to b. So I'll just put the value of x is equal to a, so I can write b is equals to minus 2a. So this will be my second equation. Now if I put the value of b is equal to minus 2a from second equation to the first equation, what will happen? This will become 4a minus 2 into b is minus 2a, so b minus 2a plus c is equal to 0. Now minus 2 into minus 2a, this is equal to plus 4a. So thus I can write 8a plus c is equal to 0, or I can write c is equals to minus 8a. So this will be my third equation. Now I have got b is equal to minus 2a and c is equal to minus a. So what my fx will become? My fx will become ax square plus bx, instead of b I can write minus 2ax, and plus c, instead of c I can write minus 8a. So ax square minus 2ax minus 8a. It is asking me about the minimum value of fx plus 9a plus 1. So I have to find out the minimum value of fx plus 9a plus 1. I need to find out the minimum value of this. So what is fx? Fx is ax square minus 2ax minus 8a plus 9a plus 1. Now minus 8a plus 9a, this will be a. So I can write this as ax square minus 2ax plus a plus 1. Now in this I'll take a as common, so this will become a into x square minus 2x plus 1 plus 1. Now x square minus 2x plus 1 is nothing but x minus 1 ka whole square, so this can be written as a into x minus 1 ka whole square plus 1. So fx plus 9a plus 1 can be simplified to a into x minus 1 ka whole square plus 1. Now x minus 1 ka whole square will always be greater than equal to 0. Any number square will always be greater than equal to 0. So a into x minus 1 ka whole square will always be greater than equal to a into 0. So this will also be greater than equal to 0. Now if I add 1 both sides, so thus I can say a into x minus 1 ka whole square plus 1 will be greater than equal to 1. A into x minus 1 ka whole square plus 1 is greater than equal to 1. So thus I can say this value, or instead I can just write f of x, instead of ax minus 1 ka whole square plus 1, I can just write this f of x plus 9a plus 1. So I'll just write this here. So f of x plus 9a plus 1 will always be greater than equal to 1. I've just substituted this part with fx plus 9a plus 1. So fx plus 9a plus 1 will always be greater than equal to 1. So fx plus 9a plus 1 will always be greater than equal to 1. So thus I can say fx plus 9a plus 1 ka minimum value will be 1, because it is always greater than equal to 1. So the minimum value will be 1, and therefore I can say option B1 is the correct answer. The next question is given to us. In a city, 50% of population can speak in exactly one language among Hindi, English and Tamil, while 40% of the population can speak in at least 2 of these 3 languages. So if I assume total population is equals to 100x. Let's say I'm assuming this as total population of 100x. I'll draw a Venn diagram for this one. So we have English, Hindi, English and Tamil. So Hindi, English and Tamil. Hindi, English and Tamil. 50% can speak exactly one language among Hindi, English and Tamil. So if I say this is A, this is B and this is C, so I can write A plus B plus C is equals to 50x. Because 50% of 100x is 50x. So, and they can speak exactly one language. So A, B, C are representing exactly Hindi, exactly English and exactly Tamil respectively. So A plus B plus C is 50x. And further we are given 40% of the population can speak in at least 2 of these 3 languages. So if I say this is D, this is E, this is F and this is G. So I can write D plus E plus F plus G should be equal to 40x. Now ABC is 50x, DEFG is 40x. So there will be 10x people because total population is 100x. Now if I sum all of these values, this is equal to 90x. So there are 10x people who cannot speak any of the 3 languages among Hindi, English and Tamil. Moreover, the number of people who cannot speak in any of the 3 languages, which is 10x. I have found out this is the number of people cannot speak any of the 3 languages. Cannot speak any language. Cannot speak any language among Hindi, English and Tamil. So this is twice the number of people who can speak in all 3 languages. So who are the people who can speak in all 3 languages? It is G. These are the people who can speak in all 3 languages. And it is given twice of this number is equal to this number. Twice of this number, which is people who can speak all 3 languages, is equal to the people who cannot speak any of the 3 languages. So I can write 2G is equal to 10x, or I can write G is equals to 5x. So G I've got as 5x. Okay. Now further in this question it is given, if 52% of the population can speak in Hindi. So Hindi, 52% population can speak. So 52% of 100x is 52x. So 52x can speak Hindi, and 25% of the population can speak exactly in one language among English and Tamil. So English, exactly English is B and only Tamil is C. So, and they have to speak exactly one language. So I can write B plus C is 25% of population can speak exactly one language among English and Tamil, which means B plus C is equals to 25% of 100x or 25x. So B plus C is 25x. Then the percentage of population who can speak in Hindi and in exactly one more language among English and Tamil is. So we have to find out the people who can speak Hindi plus one more language, exactly one more language among English and Tamil. So we need to find out the value of this one plus this one. That is, I have to find out the value of D plus E. I have to find out the value of D plus E because this is Hindi plus English, that is Hindi and English only, and this is Hindi and Tamil. So Hindi plus one more language. So Hindi and English and Hindi and Tamil. I don't have to consider G because G is representing all people who can speak three languages, Hindi, English and Tamil. I just want two languages, which is Hindi and English and Hindi and Tamil. Now B plus C is 25x. I can put this in this equation. So I can get B plus C is 25x. So I will get A is equal to 25x as well. If I put B plus C as 25x in this equation, in this particular equation, A will be equal to 25x as well. Similarly, G is 5x. So if I put the value of G is 5x in this equation, I'll get D plus E plus F is equals to 35x. Now there's one more thing which is, okay, we have to find out the value of D plus E, and we are given Hindi as 52x. So I can say, I'll just draw this diagram again. So Hindi, English and Tamil. This was my A, B, C, then D, E, F, and this is G. Now I've got the value of G as 5x. So now I'll keep on substituting. I've got the value of G as 5x, A as 25x. Okay, G as 5x, A as 25x. G as 5x. So this value is 5x and A as 25x. And I know the value of Hindi is 52x. Value of Hindi is 52x. Now what is Hindi? Hindi is basically sum of 25x plus 5x plus D plus E. So 25x plus 5x plus D plus E is equal to 52x. Now 25x plus 5x, this is equal to 30x, and 30x, if I take it to the right hand side, this will become 52x minus 30x. So I can write D plus E is equal to 22x. Now this is the required value which we need to find out. D plus E is 22x and there are in total 100x people. So what is the percentage of people who can speak Hindi plus exactly one more language, that is Hindi and English plus Hindi and Tamil. So this is equal to 22x divide by 100x, which is total number of people, into 100, since we need to find out the percentage. So this is equal to 22%. This will be equal to 22% since we need to find out the percentage, and therefore the correct answer will be option A, which is 22%. The next question is given, a train left point A at 12 noon. 2 hours later, another train started from point A in the same direction. So train A is leaving point A. So let's say this is point A. There is train T1 which is leaving at 12 noon, so 12 p.m. 2 hours later, another train started from point A in the same direction. So this T1 was moving here. Now what will happen after 2 hours, that is at 2 p.m. train T1 will reach here, and it is moving in this direction at 2 p.m. and let's say if the speed is V here, so if this is V, so it has traveled for 2 hours and the speed is V km per hour. For T1, the speed is V km per hour. Let's say for T1 it is V km per hour and it has traveled for 2 hours. So total distance covered by T1 will be 2 into V, because distance is speed into time. Speed is V km per hour and time is 2 hours, so 2 into V. So this distance is basically 2V. At this time, 2 hours later, another train started from point A. So there is T2 now, which is started from point A. It overtook the first train at 8 p.m. So let's say this is the point at 8 p.m. At 8 p.m. where T1 and T2 are both coinciding, or let's say T2 is overtaking T1. So this is T1 and T2 now both at the same point. It is known that sum of the speeds of the two trains is 40 km per hour. So if for T1 it is V kilometers per hour If for T1 it is V km per hour, I can definitely say that for T2 it is 140 minus V kilometers per hour. Because the speed of the sum of the speeds of both the trains is 140 minus V plus V, which is 140 km per hour. So for T2 it will be 140 minus V km per hour. So T2 will be moving at 140 minus V kilometers per hour. Now this is at 2 p.m. Also this T2 is at the position is at 2 p.m. because 2 hours later after 12 noon. So this is a situation when 2 hours later after 12 noon. Now the question is asking, then at what time would the second train overtake the first train if instead the second train had started from point A in the same direction 5 hours after the first train. Now the first case, what is happening? Basically the second train is starting 2 hours after the first train has started. It is asking at what time it will overtake if the second train started 5 hours after the overtake. Now we can just apply the relative concept. Now from 2 p.m. the T2 is overtaking T1 at 8 p.m. T2 is overtaking T1 at 8 p.m. So thus I can say T2 is taking 6 hours to completely overtake T1. So we can just apply the concept of relative motion here. The distance between the two trains is 2v. So it is distance time is equal to distance between them divided by the relative speeds. Distance between them divided by the relative speed. Now what is the distance between them? The distance between them is 2v. Distance between them is 2v. We can clearly see this is the distance between them at 2 p.m. And the time taken for T2 to completely overtake is 6 hours. So 2v is equal to 6. First of all, time taken is 6 hours. And relative speed will be what? Relative speed will be, since both of them are moving in the same direction, what will happen? Their speeds, we'll take the differences of their speed. Also the speed of T2 will be greater than T1. Why I am saying this? Because then only the scenario can be possible when T2 can overtake T1. If T1 is moving at a faster rate and T2 is moving at a slower rate compared to T1, then what will happen? T1 will cover more distance and T2 can never overtake T1. So if I am saying T2 is overtaking T1, definitely I have to assume that T2 is moving at a faster speed. So thus the relative speed will be difference of their speeds, and difference what we take as the difference, higher speed minus lower speed. So this is 140 minus V, which is the speed of the higher train, which is T2, minus speed of the slower train, which is T1, which is V. So 140 minus V minus V. So this equation becomes 2V upon 140 minus V is equal to 6. Further solving this will give me 2V is equal to 6 into 140 minus 2V. So 2V is equal to 840 minus 12V. I can take this to the right hand side. This becomes 14V is equal to 840 and V is equal to 60. Thus I can write, if V is equal to 60, T1 is moving at 60 km per hour, since T1 speed was V, so T1 is moving at 60 km per hour and T2 speed was 140 minus V, so T2 speed is 80 km per hour. Now it is asking us to find out the case, what will happen if instead the second train had started from point in the same direction after 5 hours. So after 5 hours, if I am asking after 5 hours, the distance covered by T1 will be, distance covered by T1 in 5 hours will be what? Distance covered is speed into time. Now what is the speed of T1? Speed of T1 is 60 km per hour. And what is the time taken by T1? It is 5 hours. Basically we have to find out the distance covered by T1 in 5 hours. So 60 into 5, this is 300 kilometers. Now what will happen to the situation is basically at 5 p.m. let's say if 12 noon they are again starting, so at 5 p.m. T1 will reach here. This is a case at 5 p.m. T1 will reach here, T2 will be here. T1 will reach here and T2 will be here. This is T1. Distance between them is what? 300 kilometers. And T2 is moving at 80 kilometers per hour. T2 is moving at 80 kilometers per hour. Now let's say if T1 was again started at 12 p.m., 12 noon. This is T1 and at 5 p.m. it will reach here. At 5 p.m. T1 will reach here and it is traveling at 60 kilometers per hour. Now at the same time, at 5 p.m. what will happen, because it is starting 5 hours after train T1 has started. So at 5 p.m. if I say that 12 p.m. at 12 p.m. T1 started, If at 12 p.m. T1 started, so after 5 p.m. At 5 p.m. what will happen? T2 will also start, because it is starting 5 hours after T1 has started. So T2 will be here. And this distance, since we have already find out, this distance is what? This distance is 60 kilometers. We have to find out distance covered by train T1 in 5 hours. This is 60 into 5, which is 300 kilometers. So this distance is 300 kilometers. Now T2 is moving with speed 80 kilometers per hour. Now again we can apply the relative motion concept. The distance between the two trains is 300 and the relative speed is 80 minus 60, which is 20. So time taken will be, time in case 2, time in C2 will be, distance between them is 300. So 300 divided by relative speed will be 80 and 60, and they both are moving in the same direction. So this will be 80 minus 60. So thus this will be 300 divided by 20, or I can write 15 hours. So thus now T2 will overtake T1 15 hours after 5 p.m. 15 hours after 5 p.m. because 5 p.m. T2 has started and it will take T2 15 hours to completely overtake T1. So 15 hours after 5 p.m. is next day. 12 hours is 5 a.m. and 12 plus 3 more hours, so 8 a.m. So next day 8 a.m. T2 will overtake T1. Next day 8 a.m. T2 will overtake T1, and thus at the same direction, and we have to find out the second, at what time would the second train overtake the first train. It is 8 a.m. next day, which is option C is the correct answer. The next question is saying the number of 5-digit numbers consisting of distinct digits that can be formed such that only odd digits occur at odd places. So what are the odd digits? Odd digits are basically 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now we have to find form a 5-digit number. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And which one are the odd places? This one and this one. These three are the odd places. These three are the odd places, which is the place number 1, place number 3 and place number 5. Or digit 1, digit 3 and digit 5. So these three are odd places. Now we have 5 options to 5 odd digits, and we have to put them in 3 places. So thus we can do this in 5 into 4 into 3 ways. This digit can be filled in 5 ways. This place can be filled in 4 ways, because since we have to find out distinct digits, the number is made from distinct digits. So if this particular place can be filled with 5 digits, which is out of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now if it is filled with 3, I cannot use 3 for this place. So if there 3 is coming, I have only 4 options, which is 1, 5, 7, 9. Now if I say this is filled with 5, now for this particular place, I have I'm only left with 1, 7 and 9. 3 and 5 I cannot use. Only 1, 7 and 9 can be used, and thus there are 3 options for this one. So thus there is 5, 4 and 3 ways of doing it. Now we have to see for the even places, which is this one and this one. Now even places can contain odd digits as well as even digits as well. There is no condition for this. Now we have already filled, let's say if this here comes 3, here comes 5 and here comes 1. What are the remaining digits? So remaining digits are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and these are all even, and the odd ones we are left with is 7 and 9. So we are only left with 7 digits, which is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 7 and 9, because 1, 5 and 3 are already filled. So thus this place, if I say this place can be filled in 7 ways. If let's say I filled 2 here, so now I cannot use 2 in this one, and particularly what are the remaining digits for this particular place is 0, 4, 6, 8, 7, 9. So there will be 6 ways in which I can fill this place. I have just taken this as an example to just give you a gist of how many numbers are there which we can use. So thus if I now put 0 here, so one of the number will be 1, 2, 5, 0, 3, which is correct, because odd place has odd digits and even can have anything. So thus the number of ways will be, or the number of 5-digit numbers will be, 3 into 7 into 4 into 6 into 5. 3 7s are 21, 4 84 into 5, 420 into 6. So this is 420 into 6, which is equal to 2520 numbers are possible. For this 5-digit numbers, there are 2520 numbers possible, and therefore option C, 2520 is the correct answer. The next question is saying there are 10 points in the plane, of which 5 points are collinear and no 3 among the remaining are collinear. So it is a case like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These 5 are collinear, and we have 5 more points. They are non-collinear. So these are the remaining 5 points which are non-collinear. So these are 5 which are collinear, and then the other 5 are non-collinear. Then the number of distinct straight lines that can be formed out of these 10 points. Just remember this thing, which is distinct straight lines. Now this is representing this one entire straight line because these are collinear, so they will be representing one entire straight line. Now number of ways will be, if I choose 2 points from this line, if I choose from these 5 collinear points, from the 5 collinear points, because ultimately to form a straight line I need to choose 2 points first of all. To form a straight line I need to choose 2 points. Now if I choose any 2 points in those 5 collinear line, choose 2 points among those 5 collinear ones, if I choose any of the 2 points, I'll get only one line because there is only one distinct line here. There's only one distinct line here, which is this one. Now if I choose this point and this point, I'm getting what? I'm getting this particular line. If I choose, let's say, this point or this point, what is happening? I'm getting this particular line. This particular line. Let's say if I'm choosing this point and this point, so what I'm getting this line. So what it is always representing one line. So if I choose any 2 points from these two, from this 5 collinear points, I'll get only one distinct line, which is there's only one possible scenario for getting a straight line. Now what I can do, I can choose 1 point from the collinear ones. So out of these 5 collinear, I can choose 1 point, and 5 non-collinear, I can choose 1 point. So I can choose this one and this one, so this will be a straight line. Or I can choose this one and this one, this will be another straight line. So number of straight lines will be, this is case 1, this is case 2. Number of straight lines will be 5C1 into 5C1 because we have to choose 1 point among the 5 collinear and 1 point among the 5 non-collinear. So this will be 5C1 into 5C1, which is 5 into 5, which is equal to 25 lines are possible. Now third case will be, case 3 will be, out of those 5 non-collinear points, I am choosing 2 points. So let's say if I choose this point and this point, I am getting one line. Then if I choose this point and this point, I am getting a distinct line as well. If I choose this point and this point, I am again getting a distinct line. If I choose this point and let's say this point, I am again getting a distinct straight line. So thus the number of straight lines will be, out of those 5 non-collinear, I have to choose 2 points. So this will be 5C2, which is equal to 10 lines. So that's the total number of distinct lines. Total number of distinct lines. This will be equal to 1 plus 25 plus 10, which is equal to 36 lines. 1 plus 25 plus 10, which is equal to 36 lines, and therefore I can write option D. 36 is basically the number of distinct straight lines which can be formed as per this scenario. So 36 is the correct answer. The next question is given as the x-intercept of the line that passes through the intersection of the lines x plus 2y is equal to 4 and 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. So there are two lines, x plus 2y is equal to 4 and 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. There is one line which is passing to the point of intersection of this line. So point of intersection of this line, let's say this is any point. There is one line which is passing to the point of intersection. If this is a comma b, so this point is a comma b. There is one line which is passing through point of intersection of these two lines, which is a comma b, and is perpendicular to the line which is 3x minus y is equal to 2. So this equation is basically y is equal to 3x minus 2. So here the slope is what? Slope is m is equal to 3. The slope is m is equal to 3. So if I, for this slope, for this line, if I consider the slope is, let's say, m2, I know for perpendicular lines the product of slope is minus 1. So m into m2 should be equal to minus 1. If this line, which is y is equal to 3x minus 2, this and this line, which is, let's say, line L1, and this is, let's say, line L2. If L1 is perpendicular to L2, I can say m into m2 should be minus 1, and it is clearly given the x-intercept of the line. We have to find out the x-intercept of the line which passes through point of intersection of these two lines and is perpendicular to this line. So this line which is passing through point of intersection of these two lines, which is a comma b, and is perpendicular to this. So thus the slope of this line will be what? M is equal to 3. So 3 into m2 will be equal to minus 1, and thus m2 will be equal to minus 1 by 3. Thus the slope of this line will be equal to minus 1 by 3. I can now use the slope intercept form for this line. So this will be equal to y is equal to m2x plus c. Y is equal to m2x plus c. This is the slope intercept form. This is the slope slope of the line form. So y is equal to m2x plus c. This is equal to y is equal to m2 is equal to minus 1 by 3. So y is equal to minus x by 3 plus c. Y is equal to minus x by 3 plus c. Now we need to find out the constant value c. How we will find out? First we need to find out the point of intersection, which is a comma b. So in this equation, let's say if a comma b is the point of intersection, so a comma b will satisfy both the equations. A comma b will satisfy both the equations. So I can write a plus 2b is equal to 4 and 2a plus 3b is equal to 6. If I multiply this equation by 2, what will happen? This equation will become 2a plus 4b is equal to 8, and this equation will be 2a plus 3b is equal to 6. If I now subtract these two equations, so this 2a get cancelled, and thus I'll get b is equal to 2. I'll get b is equal to 2. If I put b is equal to 2 in any of the two equations, I'll get, if I put b is equal to 2 in any of the two equations, I'll get a is equal to 0. If I put any of the two equations b equal to 2, I'll get a is equal to 0. Thus, the point of intersection will be a comma b will be equal to 0 comma 2. A comma b will be equal to 0 comma 2. Now this a comma b is passing through this line, which is y is equal to minus x by 3 plus c. Instead of x, I can put the value 0, and instead of y, I can put the value 2. So thus this will become, if I write this equation here, y is equal to 2 when x is equal to 0. So 2 is equal to minus 0 by 3 plus c, and thus we will be getting c is equal to 2. Thus this will become y is equal to minus x by 3 plus 2. Y is equal to minus x by 3 plus 2 will be the equation of this particular line, which is line L2. For this particular line, which is L1, the equation will be y is equal to minus x by 3 plus 2. I can take this x by 3 to the right hand side. This will become y plus x by 3 is equal to 2. Now I can take this 2 to the denominator. So this equation will become y by 2 plus x by 6 is equal to 1. Now this is the slope intercept form of the line. This is basically the slope intercept form. This is basically the slope intercept form. Now when slope intercept form, what I mean to say is y by 2 x by 6. So y intercept will be this. This will be y intercept, and this particular will be x intercept. Y intercept will be 2 and x intercept will be 6 for this particular line. If this line is basically y by 2 plus x by 6 is equal to 1, then y intercept is 2 and x intercept is 6. It is asking for the x intercept of this particular line. X intercept of this particular line, it is basically 6, and therefore option D, 6 will be the correct answer. Next question is basically a set. It is a reasoning set, and it contains 5 questions, and we have to solve this set first, and then we will have to answer all those 5 questions. It is given, in a football tournament, 6 teams A, B, C, D, E, F participated. Every pair of teams had exactly one match among them. For any team, a win matches 2 points, a win fetches 2 points, a draw fetches 1 point, and a loss fetches no points. Both the teams E and F ended with less than 5 points. So for E and F, the number of points was less than 5. At the end of the tournament, points table is as follows. Some of the entries are not shown. Okay. And there are 2 more conditions given, which is team B defeated team C and team C defeated team D. So for B, C match, B win, and for C, D match, C won. So we have to remember this as well. Now what I'll do, I'll just quickly draw the table here. So I have A, B, C, D, E, F, and this is basically number of matches played. This is number of matches won, and this is number of matches lost, and these are matches with no result or a draw, and the last one is basically the points. Now for some teams the points are known, which is 8, 6, 5 and 5, and these 2 values are less than 4. Similarly, number of losses are given to us 0, 2, 2, 1, 1, and number of matches played by them is 5, 5 for each. 5 matches are played by them for each. Now if I see for A, the total points is 8, and for win, basically for win they are getting 2 points, for lose they are getting 0 points, and for draw they are getting 1 point. So for win there are 2 points, loss 0 points, and draw is 1 point. Now if I see for A is getting 8 points. So now what is the possibility? Now there is 0 losses. So basically if I say A wins and B losses, what I can say is First of all, A plus B should be equal to 5 because they played 5 matches and there was 0 loss. So A plus B should be 5. And for a win, they are getting 2 points, and for a loss, they are getting 8 points. So I should write, for a win, they are getting 2 points, so 2A. And for a draw, they are getting 1 point, so 2A plus B. And for loss, there is 0 point and 0 losses, so 2A plus B, this should be equal to 8 because the total points are 8. Now, if I solve this equation, I just subtract equation 2 minus equation 1. I'll get A is equal to 3. And putting the value of A is equal to 3 in any of the equation will give me B is equal to 2. Thus, for A, it is 3 wins and 2 losses. It is 3 wins and 2 losses. So I can just write instead of A and B here, and also I'll just remove this one. So A is 3 and B is 2. This is 3 and this is 2. Now for B, again what I'll do, I'll assume A and B. Now B, it is 6 points. There are 2 losses. So out of the 5 matches played for B, there are 2 losses. So I should write A plus B should be equal to 3. That is, the number of wins plus number of draws should be equal to 3. Now, if A plus B is 3, also the number of points scored is 6. So this will be 2A plus B should be equal to 6. Why? Because win 2 points and draw 1 point. So 2A plus B should be 6. So if I subtract these two equations now, I'll get A is equal to 3, and thus if I put again in any of the two equations, I'll get B is equal to 0. So this will be 3 and this will be 0. So there will be 3 wins and 0 draws and 2 losses. So again for B, we'll get 6 points. For C, again C is 5 points. There are 2 losses. So again I can say this is, let's say, A and B. So A plus B will be, since there are already 2 losses, so A plus B should be equal to 3. Now for win there is 2 points and for draw there is 1 point. So 2A plus B should be equal to 5 because the total points is 5. So number of points will be 2 into A, plus for loss there is 0 points, so 0 into 2 will be 0, and for draw it is 1 point, so B into 1. So 2A plus B will be 5. If I subtract these two equations, I'll get A is equal to 2, and putting back in this equation, I'll get B is equal to 1. So thus for C it will be 2 wins and 1 draws. 2 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw. Now for D, what will happen? There are out of the 5 games there is 1 loss and total points is 5. So total points is 5. Again I'll assume this is A, this is B. Now out of 5 games 1 is lost, so A plus B should be equal to 4 because total game should be 4. So number of wins plus number of draws should be equal to 4 as number of losses is 1. So A plus B is 4, and for winning the 2 points and for draw there is 1 point. So 2A plus B should be equal to 5 because ultimately we should get the total number of points as 5. For 1 loss there will be 0 points, so 2A plus 0 into 1 plus B into 1 is equal to 5. Again if I subtract this equation, I'll get A is equal to 1, and if I put this value back, I'll get B is equal to 3. So for D it will be 1 win, 1 loss and 3 draws. 1 win, 1 loss and 3 draws. Now for E, it is given to us that he has already lost 1 match. It has already lost 1 match. Now if I give 1 win to E, that is if I consider win is equal to 1, loss is equal to 1 and draw is equal to 3. Number of points in this case will be 2 into 1 plus 1 into 0 plus 3 into 1 because 1 win, 0 loss, 1 win, 1 loss and 3 draws. So this will be 2 into 1 plus 1 into 0 plus 3 into 1. The total will be equal to 5 points. Total will be equal to 5 points. So but this is clearly say that E and F are scoring less points, less than 5 points. So E and F are scoring less than 5 points means there's number of points will be less than 5. But if I'm getting 5, definitely this assumption is wrong. Now what I'll assume is, if I give any of the victory to E, what will happen? There will be number of points will be 5. So I have to assume that the number of wins is 0. If I give, let's say, 2 wins, so what will happen? 2, 1 and 2. If I give 2 wins, 1 loss and 2 draws, again what will happen? The number of points will be 4 plus 0 plus 2, which is equal to 6 points. 4 plus 0 plus 2, which is equal to 6 points, and this is not possible because the value should be less than 4. So thus I should consider the number of wins should be 0. Now if it is clearly given that number of losses is 1, so number of losses is 1. So how many should be the number of draws? Number of draws should be equal to 4. If number of wins is 0, number of draws, number of losses is given as 1, the number of draws will be equal to 4. And thus the total number of points will be 2 points into 0 matches because 0 wins, plus 0 points into 1 match because 1 loss, plus 1 point into 4 matches because there are 4 draws. So this will be equal to 0 plus 0 plus 4, which is equal to 4 points. This should be less than 5. And thus E is scoring 4 points, and the only possible scenario is when number of wins for E is 0 and number of draws is 4 for E. Now let's look for F. What is the points F can score and what are the possible scenarios for F? Now in the tournament there are 6 teams and each team is playing every other team. So it is a round robin tournament where each team is playing every other team. So what is the number of matches? Number of matches will be 6C2, which is equal to 15, which is 6 into 5 divided by 2, which is equal to 15. So there will be in total 15 matches. So number of matches will be 6C2, which is 15 matches. Now what can be the number of points secured in each match? In each match, one team will win and one team will lose. Either this is the possibility that in a match, one will win and one will lose. So what will be the total number of points for over the team? 2 points for winning and 0 points for losing. So 2 plus 0, which is equal to 2 points. Or it can be a case when both of the team are drawing the game. So what will happen? Both will be getting 1 points. If it is a draw, what will happen? Both team will be getting 1 points, which is equal to 2 points. Again, I will repeat, the result of the match can be one team is winning and one team is losing. So the number of points the total number of points both teams are getting from a particular match is 2 for winning and 0 for loss. So 2 plus 0, which is equal to 2 points. Now, if it ended in a draw, what will happen? Both the teams will get 1 point. And again, the total number of points which the teams can get from a particular match, or a particular match can give only 2 points. So thus, if there are 15 matches and each match is ending with the result of 2 points, so total points should be 15 into 2, which is equal to 30. Total point should be 15 into 2, which is equal to 30. Now, if this is 8 points, this is 6 points, this is 5 points, this is 5 points, this is 4 points, sum of all these 6 values should be equal to 30 points. Sum of all these 6 values should be equal to 30 points. If I say this is C, so 8 plus 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus C should be equal to 30. And this is 14, 10, 24, 28. So C should be equal to 2 points. The number of points F is getting is equal to 2 points. Now F is scoring 2 points. What are the possibilities that F can score 2 points? The possibility is F is winning, losing and drawing. So winning 1 match, losing all 4 matches and drawing 0 matches. So in this case, the number of points will be 2. Or also happen is F is winning 0 matches, losing 3 matches and drawing 2 matches. In this case also, the number of points which F will be getting is 2. In both the scenarios, the number of points is 2 and there is no other scenario where the F can score 2 points. So either it can be 1 win, 4 losses and 0 draws, or 0 win, 3 losses and 2 draws. Now we'll use these conditions. So it is given that B is defeating C and C is defeating D. So out of B and C, B is winning the game. Now among B and C, B is winning the game. Now B is winning the game and I can clearly see number of draws for B is 0. So what I can definitely say, if I assume the match of B and E, what will be the result of B and E? E has won no matches, so E cannot win this match. Why? Because number of wins for E is 0. So E cannot win. Winning for E is not possible. Can this be a draw? Now this cannot be a draw. Why? Because number of draws for B is 0. Now if B and E is a draw, so what will happen? B will have 1 draw and E will have 1 draw. Now this can never be possible because number of draws for B is 0. So thus draw is also not possible. E is winning is also not possible, and thus the result of B and E will be what? The result of B and E will be B is winning. B winning and E losing. So B winning and E losing. Now the result of B and E is B winning and E is losing. Result of B and E is B is winning and E is losing the match. Now if we see at number of losses of E is 1. Number of losses of E is 1 and the only loss is basically the match among B and E is losing. So every other match of E should be a draw. Every other match. So with B, if it is a losing, so if I see what can be the matches, EA, EB, EC, ED and EF. So EA, EB, EC, ED and EF. Now with B and E is basically losing. E is losing. Now there is one loss and 4 draws. So all this match which is EA, EC, ED and EF should be draws. EA, EC, ED and EF. All of these should be draws. EA, EC, ED and EF should be draws. Now, if this is a draw, then I can definitely say that M should have at least one draw. I can definitely say that F should have at least one draw. If this is ending in a draw, I'll write it on the left hand side. If the match of E and F is basically ending in a draw, so I can say F has at least one draw. With E and F match ending in a draw, F has at least one draw. And my initial cases, I am assuming that F can either be 1 win, 4 losses and 0 draws, 0 wins, 3 losses or 2 draws. Now this case is never possible. Why? Because F is here in this case, F is drawing 0 matches. F is drawing 0 matches, but the match between E and F is definitely ending in a draw. Match between E and F is definitely ending in a draw. So F should have at least one draw. So the only possible case is this one, which is F is winning 0 matches, losing 3 matches and drawing 2 matches. And in this case, the number of points scored by F will be again 2. So this is my entire table for all the 6 teams, number of matches won, lost and draws and the total points scored. Now let's look at the questions now. Total number of matches ending in a draw is, basically if we count the total number of matches drawn is 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2. So this is 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2. Now draw is calculated twice. Let's say if E and F match is getting drawn, it is calculated here as well as here. The match between E and F is basically, if it is a draw, it is calculated twice in the table, in the E section as well and in the F row as well. In both E row and F row, it is calculated twice. So we have to ultimately divide it by 2. So thus the number of draws will be, total number of draws in the tournament will be 2 plus 1 3 plus 3 6 plus 4 10 plus 2 12. So 12 divided by 2, which is equal to 6. So there will be 6 draws in the entire tournament, and therefore option D, 6 is the correct answer. The next question is saying which team had the highest number of draws. So we can just refer to this table, and highest number of draws is 4, which is for E. Highest number of draws is 4, which is for E, and therefore team E will have the highest number of draws. Next question is saying total points team F got was, we clearly see that the total points F got was 2 points. Total points F got was 2 points, and therefore option C, 2 will be the correct answer. The next question is saying which team was not defeated by team A. So not defeated means either winning, that is team A is winning, or team A ended with a draw with that particular team. Team A ended with a draw with that particular team. Now what I'll do, I'll just use the condition and the table. If I see for team D is winning 1, losing 1 and drawing 3. The scenario for D is winning 1, losing 1 and drawing 3. And it is also given in condition second, which is team C defeated team D. So in the match between C and D, basically C won and D lost. In the match between C and D, C won and D lost. And there is only one loss possible for D. So thus I can say the match between A and D, what will happen? Either D will win or it will end in a draw. So either D will win or it will end in a draw. It is not saying for winning or drawing. So basically winning and drawing for the other team, whichever the team is there. Which team? So this particular team should either win or draw with team A. C and D, C is winning and D is losing, and there is only one loss possible for D. C winning and D losing, and only one loss possible for D. So match between A and D, what will happen? Either D will win or D will draw the match, and this is the only possible case. In this we can say the match between A and D, D is not defeated. D is not defeated by A. D is not defeated by A. D is either winning or D is drawing with A, and thus I can say option C, which is team D, is the team which is not defeated by A. I'll again explain C and D. C is winning and D is losing, and since D can lose only one match, this is given to us in the condition. because C is beating D. So C is winning, D is losing, and there is only one match which D can lose. So the match between A and D, what will happen? Either D will win or D will draw the match. So thus this I can say that D is definitely not defeated by A. Either D is winning the match or D is drawing it with A, and therefore option C, team D, is the correct answer. Team E was defeated by, as we have already discussed, the number of, if I refer to this table again, for E it is 0, 1, 1 loses, 1 loss and 4 draws. So for E it is 0, 1, 1 loss and 4 draws. And we clearly discussed that the match between B and D, basically B is winning and E is losing, because for B it is either a win or a draw, and for B it was either 3 wins or 2 losses, and among the B and D it should have 1 loss. So E will be definitely losing this particular match. It cannot end in a draw because there are no draws for B. B has 0 draws. So B and D, B is winning, E is losing. I have already discussed this one. So, and all the other matches, which is AE, CE, DE and FE, all the other matches of E are basically should end in a draw. All the other matches should end in a draw. Why? Because there is only one loss which team E is getting from B. There is only one loss which team E is getting from B, and there are 0 wins. There are 0 wins. So these all matches, which is AE, CE, DE and FE, should end in a draw. It is asking about team E was defeated by. So team E was defeated only by B in the case where B was winning and E was losing, and thus option C, only team E is defeated by only team B. So with this we have discussed all the questions of the quant section. We have discussed all the questions of the quant section from IPMAT 2021. I've discussed all the questions from the quant section of IPMAT 2021. I'll again provide you that the Cracku is providing free IPMAT mock test. You have to just Google search Cracku IPMAT mock test and you'll be redirected to the pages. So do give these mocks. This is on the basis of the last 5-year papers, and it is going to be very beneficial for you. It will help you realize what are your weak areas are. So do give these mocks. This is going to be very helpful for you. So in the next video, we'll discuss about the IPMAT 2020 quant section. So thank you so much for watching this video.